I graduated from the University of Wisconsin-La Crosse back in 1996. After graduation, I had the opportunity to sub both in public and private sectors. The Catholic sector meaning the private sector. Opened up the newspaper on one Sunday morning in the spring of 1997 and saw that they had a job opening for a K-4 teacher at St. Leo's Catholic Urban Academy. That's in the city of Milwaukee, and was in that position for 2 years. And that's when the principal came to me and said, "You seem to have a knack for doing the principal thoughts, ideas, activities, tasks, and things like that." So I left the K-4 role and took on this side leadership role with her. Also did some reading specialist work. Then after a few years of that, my second child came along, and so that was the opportunity of me to move on to a different location, live closer to family and friends so that they could support my husband and I in taking care and raising our 2 children at that time. At that point, a year or 2 went by. I applied for a teaching position at St. Bruno's Parish School out in the Dousman area, and was offered the K-5 position, took that, and that's when I became very involved from a parent standpoint in the parish. We joined the St. Bruno's Parish, which is where we were married, and became involved as a teacher as well. So after a few years, we had a number of principal turnover, and at one point, I believe it was the early 2000s, that a principal came on board, and him and I really connected. He also found that I had traits: caring, kindness, compassion, collaborative, and really took an interest to doing the schedule and how the schedule worked, handbooks, some of the duties, attending some of the principal meetings, getting a handle on what a principalship would look like. And so after a few years, it was, and his encouragement and my first principal's encouragement, I applied to Marquette's master's program in administration and leadership. So I applied to a number of Catholic schools because, again, that's the direction that I wanted to go. Being in Catholic education for, I want to say that was roughly 10 years of teaching and learning, again, expressing my Catholic values, beliefs, those that I was raised with as a very Catholic family. I attended Saint Jerome School out in the Oconomowoc area, attended Catholic Memorial High School, and then again had the opportunity to go to Marquette for my master's. So Catholic education means the world to me. I've always felt as a Catholic educator that the Lord has called me to be in the Catholic schools, to really live out as a servant leader for our teachers, for our students, as well as our parents. So again, Catholic education just means the world to me. So looking for a Catholic education principalship, I found one up in the Madison area, and so started working as a principal / English language arts teacher at a school up in the Dane area, Madison area, called St. Michael's. So I did that for a number of years. It was an hour drive up to that area, so after a few years under my belt as a principal, I came back to this area hoping to land a job either in the Tosa area, Milwaukee area, Waukesha area, Oconomowoc area, just again going back to my roots, but knowing Catholic education was very important to me because there's just something about Catholic education, growing up and living and breathing my faith, my beliefs, my manners, that again, as a servant leader, I wanted to give back. So in 2012, I landed an associate principal job at Waukesha Catholic. I was living and breathing that for 6 years. Again, what was a blessing for me is that I have a love for early childhood, but I also, again, really feel that I am a servant leader. So the role that I took on at Waukesha focused on the early childhood teachers, but also focused on, again, those values and beliefs, so that from year to year I was planning all school masses with all 3 campuses. I was putting readings together for our weekly masses for our little ones all the way up through our 8th graders. So we always celebrated masses on Friday, depending on the campus. It was a 3-campus school, but always preparing. I was the liaison to the priests. We had 3 priests that fed into the Catholic school. So always meeting with them, planning special events, planning Christmas masses, planning the Advent season, planning the Lent season. Catholic Schools Week, that was also a task, an activity event that I planned, working with the teachers, the principals, and the priests. So again, being a servant leader, I felt the tasks that I was able to enjoy, and enjoyed planning them, working with the priests and things like that. I was able to continue my servant leadership at that sector. After about 6 years, I felt I had a real strong handle on becoming a successful principal. So I was very much interested in finding my own, I guess, Catholic community, Catholic school that I could have the most impact on, working with different priests, working with different teachers, students, and communities. So I had been truly blessed that when I was interviewing, that I had come upon the position at Wauwatosa Catholic. So interviewed, was offered the position, and accepted the job. The community here at Wauwatosa is truly amazing. We are not necessarily a large school, but a school that has roughly 200 students with it. I have 25 staff, but yet it's large, but yet small enough to create a community that is caring, kind, loving, works collaboratively with one another, is open-minded, and very reflective with our faith. Spirituality is most important to us. Celebrating our IB awards, celebrating Mass weekly together, and then again having the ability to work with the priests in planning Lent, Advent, and so forth. So I think my educational journey has been truly a blessing. Again, as a servant leader, I have been very spiritually filled, faith-filled, again, passing all of what I was brought up with, sharing that with parents and students and faculty, again, is a true blessing. Why is Catholic education important to me? It's because I was raised with a very strong Catholic background, strong values, strong beliefs. I have 2 older sisters and a younger sister, and I don't know how my dad survived, but my dad survived. So there were 4 girls, and my mom and dad were always involved, and to the day they're involved in the church. I mean, my mom was in the choir up until just a couple years ago. They're still parish members for I don't know how long now, Saint Jerome's. My dad does the usher every Sunday. He's still there with his mask on, his suit. Growing up, we always attended 7:15 Mass, Sunday mornings. We were all dressed to the T. I'm not sure how that worked with 4 girls, but we were all dressed to the T, to attend Mass. Catholic education was important to my parents, and so yes, all of us attended Saint Jerome's Parish School all the way through 8th grade. Continued Catholic education was important. So I attended Catholic Memorial, and actually that's where more of my faith came out. Participating in the retreats at Catholic Memorial, confirmation retreats, junior year, that was huge, it was important. That actually is one of my most memorable, so I don't know whether it's Catholic Memorial with the classes, the religion classes, things like that, that really brought it out, or if it was the retreat that Saint Jerome's planned. But we headed up to Wisconsin Dells, and just that retreat, that whole piece, just again was a journey becoming closer to God and my faith. Living and breathing those with my mom, My mom was a teacher at Marquette University, so again, it was very faith-filled. My dad being in, I guess you would say servant leadership, but at a public sector, being the chief of police. My mom being a nurse, her values, her beliefs, led to her becoming a nurse, and that's what she did for years and years and years. So I think that's kind of maybe where my teaching aspect came in, is that I saw both my mom and my dad being very faithful, being very service orientated, and so maybe the traits that I grew up was modeled led me to being a servant leader within the educational system. Roughly about 6 months ago, I had a past student of mine from St. Michael's School call me up out of the blue, wondering if I had any teaching opportunities for her, though she needed to complete her student teaching first. So during our phone conversations back and forth, emails back and forth, she had said to me that the reason I'm going into teaching, Mrs. Suarez, is because you were our principal. You also taught us English language arts, and just again, you being a risk taker, caring, you being kind, you being open-minded, reflective, really had me thinking and growing. How can I continue my faith? Seeing that I modeled my faith, my values, my beliefs, being very religious. The students there, she was one of them, that found that she could continue within education, doing something she loved, serving others, but also being very faith-based, open-minded thinker, risk-taker, and really continuing her faith and journey as a servant leader, as God has called me to do the same thing.